Good afternoon. This is Dick Jones, and I'd like to welcome you to viewing this video, which is an introduction to one of the elements of the career instructional model, namely empower with hope and confidence. And I'm delighted this afternoon that I'm joined by Angela Maiers. Angela is a great educator, passionate, and is doing great things and making a difference for teachers and students. Um, I'd like to have Angela share with us today some of the things that she's discovered in reflecting about instruction and how we can do a much better job of empowering students in their experiences in school. Angela is a noted author, international speaker, very exciting and motivational to a lot of the students and staff that she gets to share her ideas with, and delighted that you could join us this afternoon to talk about some of these things. When we were developing the career model, I was thinking, Angela, about the message that you share with audiences about how important it is to really empower students, and they can begin to make a difference in the world around them right now. So welcome. And I'd like to start off with a question of asking you about how did you first discover how important this aspect of empowering students was to thinking about good teaching and learning?
Well, hi, Dick. I'm so honored to be here. I'm a big fan of your work and very honored and excited to be talking about, especially this topic. I started my career with 5-year-olds, and 25 years later, the work that I've done in the classroom, sitting in the presence of 5-year-old geniuses, has informed not only my personal practice, but my entire professional message. And the core of this movement comes from what they remind us. They run to school at 5, every single one of them, with no hesitation about their genius. They were born brave, and they expect to do brave things. They understand that they have an awesome, and they learn how to find ways to share it with one another. And really, the whole foundation of kindergarten is this whole process of showing and telling, this process of learning when do you show and how not to show so much. But in the whole community, as we show and tell what one another's geniuses are, passions and talents, you end up building not only a community, but individuals that are confident and calm in themselves and absolutely fierce and committed to making an impact in the world, in others' lives. And I don't know what happens after 6 years old, but something really drastic and really dangerous happens. This isn't about student engagement. This is about the imperative of empowerment and agency, where students work on developing and nurturing what their geniuses are. They should come to school to feel more genius and to have more opportunity to use it in impactful ways, rather than a 12-year cycle of figuring out that you weren't all that because you had adults every year in your life saying you're not enough and you're just a kid.
Angela, I think a lot of teachers make those observations about how the change occurs in young people. When did you first discover that using this phrase, you matter, really began to get teachers thinking differently about the way they go about engaging instruction?
Well, I've been telling kids they matter for 25 years, so I didn't really think it was sort of that different. And then the moment you move out of the vernacular of genius learners and you start working with adults who have forgotten their genius and need it to be liberated, you start recognizing how powerful those two words are. They're much more powerful than any two words that I know. Even I love you, because that sort of circumstance that you know that your mom or dad is going to love you, but knowing that you matter is as essential to our DNA as water and food and shelter. We were created for significance, and our ability to know that we're essential in someone else's life is critical not only to our emotional development, but to our cognitive development, our academic development, our soulful and civil development.
Angela, some might agree that these principles work really well with gifted and talented students, but do you really think that it's equally important to introduce to the way that we work with every student in our classroom?
Absolutely. Every single human being has something unique that no other human being in the world has or can do. And there's someone in the world who needs exactly that. So when I say to kids, you matter, or you are a genius and the world needs your contribution, I'm not saying that to build their self esteem or to grow their ego. This is a call to action and a standard of operating where doing any less than your full capabilities is not acceptable. So this is a level of bravery and a level of expectation that we do not have in schools. Kids are not they're not undereducated and they're certainly not undertested. They are underestimated minute by minute, day by day, and the cumulative effect of that on their academics and on the world is pandemic.
This notion of empowering students seems so simple. Can it really make a difference in overall student achievement? And what differences have you seen in your experiences?
It will sound so simple that many teachers and many individuals, especially adults, will blow off these two words and think, oh, this is just a cutesy way to inspire kids. But to really, really understand and take heart and take serious those two words, because that's where it all begins. If you don't believe you matter, and more importantly, you don't believe that the actions that you engage in minute by minute, day by day matter to anyone else, then you're going to take for granted what your capability is, what your ability to impact is. And the moment we start doubting our ability to impact, the moment we start searching for comfortability. I said to a group of students last week that the opposite of courage is not cowardliness. The opposite of courage is comfortability. And what we're fighting is our human need, our biological need to be comfortable. 5-year-olds don't have that fight. They are brave every minute. They do things. They see awe as a part of their DNA. Adults have learned how to be safe, how to be comfortable. School is a place that not only promotes comfortability, it promotes conformity. And so our enemies are apathy and complacency. They're not disengagement. And so telling kids that you matter is a reminder that you're going to expect something from them. And more importantly, the world's going to expect something from them. And that sets a whole tone. There's a manifesto that we wrote for the movement. It was last September, and we had 877,000 kids in 6 continents make the public proclamation that they will own and honor and contribute their genius to something bigger than themselves. And it changes you. It changes your learning. It changes your stance. It changes your view and frame of the world, and it changes an entire community.
Angela, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts in this video today. I think anyone who listens to you and feels your passion recognizes that this is one of the key elements that we need to incorporate in our instruction at all grade levels and better preparing students for the 21st century and bringing these elements of career readiness in. It's not about just getting an education over 16 years and then finding something to do in the world. It's getting students to recognize their talents early on and begin to make those difference. So thank you for getting us to think differently about the work that we do. I invite those viewing to pick up your books and read more detail about the kinds of ideas that you can share, and also to follow you on Twitter. So thank you, Angela.
Find me on Twitter. Thank you so much. You matter. I have to say that to you and your community. You matter. So thank you so much for having me.